Okay, you're welcome back to class. Today we will be looking at making your fascinator without necessarily using a mold. Sometimes you're home and you have an outing and you just need something small and simple that you can use with your cloth, and you don't have a mold and you want to make a fascinator. So today I'm going to show you how to make your fascinator without necessarily using a mold. So you'll see here before me I have a piece of paper that I've cut into a circle. You can make your circle wider or smaller depending on what you want. My own circle here measures about 7 inches in diameter, so I've traced that out here. Another thing you're going to need for making your fascinator, you'll need gum, you'll need some elastic or Alice band or comb, depending on what you have at home. These are some of the things that will help you to hold your fascinator on your head when you're through. You'll need some decorative items. Here I have some roses. If you have roses or anything else you can use at home to decorate your fascinator. And then the main material that we want to use for our fascinator are laces. These are leftover materials from our tailor, so we're going to pick one of this. Like you see here, you can use cord laces, you can use the sequin material, and then these are laces that we also want to use. These are materials that you can use to make your fascinator. So like I said, I have my circle here, and by the way, you can use any shape that you want, just don't make it too big so that you can handle it properly. I'm cutting out my circle shape. I have to be careful so that my circle have rounded edges. I have to be careful. So I'll cut out my circle now, and once I cut out my circle, then the process will start. So cut out your circle, make your circumference as wide or as small as you want it. I'm not cutting that properly. All right. So I've cut it out, and then I've cut a line to the center. And the usefulness of this line, I'll show you now. Now, cutting to the center, now that I've cut a circle, I can use it like this for my fascinator, or I can push it over so that it gives me a concave, a rounded shape. That's the essence of cutting it here. But if you want just a flat shape like this, you can just leave it this way. All right, so now that I've prepared my circle, if I want it to have a concave shape, like I said, I'll pin it over. And how do I do that? I'll add my gum, maybe just about 1.5 inches into. And then, I need to cut a small circle here in the center to make it easy to overlap. Just a very small circle. All right, I hope you can see what I'm doing. And then I overlap it depending on how curved you want it to be. A slight curve, then you just do like 1.5 inches. If you want it to have a concave surface and you want it to be more, you push it in more. So you determine. But at the end of the day, you'll discover that all this will no longer show, but you have to do a good job at the start of it. I hope you can see what I have done there. So I have a concave. All right, so the next thing to do now is to cover the top of my board. For this board, you can use any cardboard that you have at home to make your work fast. All right, Now because this board is white, if I'm to use this lace, you see that the board will be showing through. If I'm to use the lace, the board will be showing through. So if you're using materials that will be showing through, the only material that will not show through will be the Ankara material. But if you're using laces, then you have to back that lace with a plain material. And you could also use the plain material itself. But if you're using a lace, then you have to back it with a plain material. So you see that. So it's not going to show. Alright. So what we're going to do, the first thing we will do now is to put our adhesive to the side of the board all around. The adhesive I'm using is the Yule gum, and you have to be quite careful with it so that you don't have a messy finish. So what I do is you can rub it on so that by the time you place your material, it will not stain it through. I just rubbed it with a piece of paper to spread the gum. Then the next thing is to cover you see that I have excess all around my board. It's important that you have that excess around your board. So this excess you bring over. So what I'm going to do is to reduce that all around so that it's not too much. I'm leaving like an inch around my board. In excess of the board. So this is what this one will now go around. All right. Okay. So I've cut and I've made sure that there's excess. So this one will come this way. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the material that I choose to place on top also. So the material that I've chosen to place on top is my lace, and I've chosen this lace because the material underneath is cream. If for example I have a black lace, then I'll use a black underlay so that it can cover completely the lace underneath. All right. So the next thing to do will be, you can add some gum all round, and when that gum is added, you can now place your material of choice on top of it. All right. So I've placed that material. Want it to stick together a bit. I deliberately did not add the gum on the body so that it wouldn't leave marks on top of my fascinator. Then I turn it to the other side again and I cut the excess. Once again. So whatever material of choice you have. Most of the time you want to use the material that is left over from your dress so that you have a matching fascinator. All right, so we have gummed it. So the next thing to do is now to stick down these two pieces of material. I hope you can see I'm adding the gum at the edge. All right, and then we're going to stick it down. And as you're sticking it down, pick the material so that it molds to your board, to the shape that you have cut out on your board. Now the board that you have cut out, it can be any shape. It can be any shape, but the round shape is usually the easiest to work with. You see the way I'm picking it and I'm forming small pleats with it. Another thing you can do to make your work easy is to make notches like this all round, just like 1 inch apart. This will also make your work easy, but you have to be careful with this so that your work will not become messy. All right. To make the next step a bit more easy, if you did not make notches, you might have to cut some of this excess so that your material will lay flat. But if you have made notches, the notches would naturally help it to lay flat. So there, your fascinator is beginning to take shape. And then the next thing to do is to cover the inside of your fascinator. You can't leave it like this. You have to cover it. And to do that, you can place your fascinator on the material you have chosen. And then you also cut it out. I've marked it. I've marked the circle. You might not be able to see what I'm doing, but you see that I marked the circle. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a circle alone. It can be any shape that you desire it to be. So what I'm doing here is to cut out you can see my trace there. Place it again. Okay, you can see it now. cut the circle, you'll see that the circle is a bit wide, almost as wide as the material. So I'll just reduce it slightly. I'll reduce my circle a little, maybe just like 1/4 of an inch. All right, I'm reducing that all around. All right, and then I'll place it. I hope you can see that. So the next thing to do is to stick it down by adding my gum once again. I'm adding the gum to the edge of the main material so that it will cover the material I'm using to back this fascinator. It will cover it so the rough edges will not show. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so you see, pressing it down. You have to do this carefully so you don't have a messy finish. All right, so you now use this trimming to cover. Now, as much as possible, you will need to get a trimming that matches the main color so that it can cover the edges beautifully, so that you won't have something that is for example, this is cream and the base is black. You can't go using something that is pink or red, so you have to use a trimming that will cover it beautifully and that will also match at least one of the colors. On the other hand, you could also use just a silver material, a silver trimming, if you can't find any other, or if you can't find a matching trimming, because sometimes you'll not be able to. All right, so we have our fascinator. It's getting ready. Now you will need either an Alice band, an elastic, or comb. If you're using the comb, you will need to attach the comb to the middle. This is a metal comb. You can get a plastic comb. You attach it to the middle. However, if you're using an Alice band, you place your fascinator to a side of the Alice band. It's not nice to place your fascinator in the center. You place it to the side and then you stick it down to the fascinator. All right, so that is it for finishing. If you're using an elastic, you will cut a piece of elastic, maybe like 10 inches of elastic. I'm looking for the press the red button. All right, so you cut a bit of elastic that will go around the head, and then you stick it down on either side of your fascinator. Stick it down, or you stitch it down. You can place it under. You lift up this trimming. You add your gum there, and you place your gum, your elastic, and come to the other side also, directly opposite it. You lift it up, and this should be done, of course, before this gum is already set. So you place it underneath. Now to give it a double holding, you could just tack it down a little with matching color. I hope you can see the fascinator there. So our fascinator is getting ready. Now finishing our fascinator now will be determined by what you have to finish it with. So here I have some roses I can use to finish it. I'll just arrange it the way I desire and gum it down on it. Or another thing is I have some netting or veiling, it's called veiling.